everybody, this is Chill10974. I'm coming to you again with another wonderful edition of I just downloaded World of Warships Legends. This series is dedicated to the new player, somebody who just got into the game and is feeling their way around and trying to figure things out. The whole point of me doing this is because I made mistakes when I jumped into this game almost 4 years ago, and I made a lot of mistakes. And it took me a long time to be able to figure out how to do a lot of different stuff. So I'm trying to make something here for you, the new player, to be able to go ahead and make your way a little bit quicker and do some more fun stuff here at World of Warships Legends. Now, from the last one, episode 2, to this one, episode 3, which is going to be the final one, there has been some changes to the game. So we're going to go over those and see how they are going to apply to help you get better. So we are going to be looking at a couple different things today. So we're going to be I'm going to go over briefly on the different types of ships, what their jobs are, and then we're going to start talking about armor and armor angling. And we're going to use a couple of the new tools. We're going to use one of the new tools that are in the game to be able to help you learn how to play. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, it's one of those things that some of the things that they've added in here that have been really, really good. And we're going to go over those when we get inside here. So I'm hoping this helps you out. If this does, definitely do me the favor of putting some comments down below to kind of help, see where we'd like the channel to go next. We'll definitely be able to try to help as much as we possibly can the player in this particular game. I love it when it takes forever to load. Here we go. All right. So let's talk about the two new things that have shown up inside World of Warships Legends since the last edition of this show, or of this series. So let's take a look. First off, well, actually, a couple of things. They that, if you notice, when you come in here, they've actually redone the interface, which is actually not that bad. So you get the different interfaces with some different graphics and things of that nature, which is good. Now, one of the two things they have added since the last time I did an edition of this particular series was fleets. That's right, fleets. So here is the fleet that I belong to. Or the clan, if you like that term a little bit better. It's called Spectre Squadron. Now, what this does, how does this help a new player? Well, if you're confident enough, there's plenty of fleets out there. You could join up with other veteran players out there that can actually help you learn how to play. That's right, you can hook up with other players and you can do this. You can learn how to play in a team format with other players and be able to do this relatively easily. This is going to help your development, especially when you're going and playing things like standard or ranked. And sooner or later they're going to be coming around. We're going to have clan versus clan games. So this is going to help you, the new player, to be able to up your game a little bit, get in and gain some of the skills and confidence you're going to need to be able to continue to play this game in a successful way. So, as you can see, not a bad, we're a decent size fleet, but there's plenty of them out there, and I highly recommend that if you're a new player and you can reach out to some of the fleet members out there. There's plenty to be on there. Just go on to the tab, go looking for fleet. You can see they're on there, and maybe you can either message or email some of them or somebody. and see, and see what they offer, and be able to go in and play, and learn how to play in a team manner, which is a good thing. And what that's also going to do, it's going to help you be able to learn the different ships, which we're going to go over, and the different types of armor, and how to play the ships, the armor, and everything else that goes along with it. So, that being said, we're going to go to the other thing that they've added into World of Warships Legends. That's right, training rooms. They've added in training rooms. So now, with the addition of training rooms, this gives us the ability to go in and learn how to play, go in and do sketchy things and learn how to play. And and be able to experiment with different games, with different types of play style, and a lot of other different things. So that's always a good thing to go ahead and do. So we're going to go into the training room, and we're going to show you a couple of different things, and we're going to go quickly over the different types of ships and what they do. All right, let's go in, take a look. All right, so we're going to start right here. Now, the first things we're going to start off with are destroyers. So, what are the primary job of a destroyer? Well, this is probably one of the fully multifaceted task ships that are out there. They have multiple jobs. So, what does a DD do? So, one of the most important thing that this ship will do is it will spot the enemy. These ships go in and they help spot the enemy for your cruisers and your battleships, so they can start working over the enemy team. And it's important for you to understand that is the primary job. That is the one thing you want to do. So the things you want to be mindful of is taking a look at a couple of different factors when you build your ship. Now, this one's the black. One of the things I always take a look at is detectability. So you want to be able, how you set up your ship how you want, but usually to accomplish that first mission, which is to actually go ahead and to go out and spot and stay undetected. I like to make sure that I have my ship with a good concealment. Now, the black, which is a Fletcher class destroyer, I have a detectability range of 5.3 kilometers, which is actually pretty decent. Especially for a larger destroyer like the Fletcher, and it helps you stay concealed longer, be able to spot other ships longer, and in some cases, depending on the enemy destroyers, it may have a high detectability. You'll be able to spot them first before they spot you. Which brings me to the second job of the destroyer, and that is to kill the enemy destroyers. Your job not only is to spot the enemy, but also to find the enemy destroyers and take them out. A lot of players fail to do this when they're playing destroyers. By taking out the enemy destroyer, you're taking out the eyes of their fleet, which is a very good thing. Now, you want to do it in such a way where you are not being taken out. But in some cases, if there's no other enemy destroyer on the enemy team, and you take that destroyer out and you happen to die in the process, yes, now you're keeping the balance of power proper. But the thing is, you want to take them out before they take you out. Third thing that is important for a destroyer. That third thing is to take the caps. Do the objectives. Make sure that you're gaining points for your team. So if you're playing a game domination, you want to be able to get in there and take the caps and hold the caps, get defense ribbons, get spotting ribbons, things like that, which are going to help your overall score, your overall XP at the end of the game. The other thing too, like say in other modes, you want to make sure that one of the things you want to do is go and try to take the base. Now, In Capture the Base, it's kind of important more to spot and take out the enemy destroyers. And an afterthought towards the end is to try to go take the base if practicable. So yeah, that's kind of one of the things. So it is a little complicated, but epicenter, you want to try to get in and take and hold those rings as long as possible, and still be able to maintain your other two functions, taking out the enemy destroyer and spotting the enemy and helping your team do that. Now, the fourth and final thing on your list of things to do in a destroyer is to go out and take out enemy shipping. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of destroyer players make is going off and YOLOing after enemy battleships and things like that, or making YOLO runs around the map to go after the enemy carrier and neglecting their job and not helping their team. Yeah, you get a lot of damage points and things like that, and ooh, I did this, that, and the other thing, but let me put it this way. The whole point of the destroyer is to be the eyes of the fleet. That's their job. Your team does not succeed unless you succeed, and the way a destroyer succeeds is by spotting the enemy, by taking the caps, by killing the enemy destroyers. And once you've accomplished those missions, then you can start going after the enemy ships. Now, staying with destroyers for a minute, there's primarily two different types of destroyers out there. There's a gunboat destroyer and there's a torpedo destroyer. And there's a few that kind of fit in between. Primarily, like the ship you're looking at here, the USS Black, and its sisters, the Fletcher and the Kidd, and a lot of its American predecessors are gunboat destroyers, with the exception of maybe two. That would be the Sumner, or the Summers, and the Benham. They're more torpedo-based. They do have the really good American 128 millimeter 5-inch Mark 37s on there, so they're really good. The only differences with these boats, and this is including the Summer and the Benham, their detectability rate is a little higher. So they're not really pure stealthy torpedo boats. They still retain some of the quality of being a gunboat because of their size and things of that nature. And then you have the torpedo boats. Now, the stealthy little ninja boats that are out there are primarily the Japanese boats, the Akazuki, the Shimakaze, the Kamikaze, the Minakaze, all those ships. A lot of them can be spec'd for detectability rates for 5 kilometers and lower in some cases. They usually have heavier hitting torpedoes and a little bit longer range and a little bit faster. Their gunboating ability is a little bit on the nerve side because of the slow turret traverse and the slow reloads that go along with some of their guns. Now there's the Akazuki, which is a very good gunboat, and the Hayate, which is also a pretty decent gunboat with reloads in the 4 to 5 second range, which is actually not bad for a Japanese destroyer. So they can have a little bit gunboat properties, but they're not as a pure gunboat like the Americans. Now, there's also another class of ships, the Pan-European, especially something like the Smolik and the Osteröland, and if you are able to get the Friesland, which are big-time gunboaty type ships. Now, the Småland and the Osteröland, they do have torpedoes. The Friesland does not. The Friesland is a pure 100% gunboat with basically machine guns on there. You can spec that thing down to get reloads at probably near as low as 1.6 seconds. Yeah, you heard me right. 1.6 seconds. That thing is machine gun. That's machine gun Kelly. But remember, you don't have torpedoes, so you lose that primary defensive thing. Another good line of destroyers that have that quality in between are the German line, they're kind of very utilitarian. They don't do anything well, but they do. They're not they're jack of all trades. They don't really do everything extremely well. They have good torpedoes, decent guns, decent smoke, decent detectability, toughness and things like that. And then you have then you have the Russian line, which is really made towards towards gunboating, because they have longer range guns on their ships. Then when they get a little closer, they do have some issues when it comes to um, um, when it comes to their shell trajectory, because they're very flat. They do suffer from two problems: one, shorter range torpedoes, and two, higher detectability rates. Then there's the French, if you like the high speed line. A lot of them, but their thing is they have to do that without smoke screens because they're not equipped with them. And then there's the Italians, YOLO boats that, yeah, they YOLO. They have creeping smoke, torpedoes, things of that nature, but they have a higher detectability rate with slower turret traverse and slower reloads on their guns. So, I mean, primarily, if you like the gunboat, then you like the American destroyers probably, and if you like to be the pure torpedo boat, Ninja, then you probably would stick with the Japanese line. Now let's go take a look. Let's go look at the cruisers really quick. So we can look at the cruisers. There's different types. You have your light cruiser, you have your heavy cruisers, you have your super cruisers. You have 3 different lines. All of them have a little bit different properties. A lot of them have faster reloads. Say like the the Cleveland, or say let's see, the Ochakovs, the Maines, stuff like that. They have a lot of different ships and things like that. Then you have those usually your 152s or 6-inch guns. There's to me, one of the best cruisers in the game, right here, the USS Baltimore. They have those fantastic American 8-inch 203s. They're great pen angles. They can smack some battleships and stuff like that and get penetration. It's unbelievable. And then you have like the fire starters, heavy cruisers like the Wichita, and then you also have your super cruisers. You got a whole bunch of them in here. You got the Congress for the U.S. for Tier 7. Let's see. Let's come down this way. You got the Azuma for the Japanese. Big time fire starter, big guns, crappy armor. We get down to the Germans. You have the Siegfried right there, and then in the upper tiers you got, they're the upper tiers, and you have the real super cruisers once you get up into the into legendary and stuff like that. All of them have specific missions. Light cruisers are really good at taking out destroyers, especially the ones that are radar equipped. Heavy cruisers are there to take out not only destroyers, but to deal with some battleships, things like that, but also to take out the light cruisers. And then there's the super cruisers. They're there just to wipe cruisers off the map. That's their job. Now, the things with these ships is they have especially the light cruisers and the heavy cruisers in some cases, they have very high DPM output. So this is kind of a weird aspect, is that usually these cruisers have long range guns, and they can usually the ones that will sit back and get behind cover and things like that and spam incoming battleships and things of that nature. Also to put themselves in the position where they can use their radar, especially if you got, say, like a Balti, or better yet, a Cleveland, where you can get towards the middle of the map with the 9-kilometer radar, pop that thing. You'll be able to help you find, light up and find those destroyers and things like that. Always a good thing to have. But like I said, the super cruisers don't have the high DPM that its light and heavy cruiser counterparts have, but they got bigger battleship caliber guns that can go ahead and wipe cruisers off the map. They don't overpin as much as, say, like a 15 or a 16 or an 18-inch gun. These usually will have 11s or 12s, some cases some 15s, but normally they're going to have, like the American ones have 12-inch guns, which actually do a very nice job on citadels, especially on cruisers. Now we also come to, yes, let's look at them. We'll start back here. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to put my favorite ship up there. Battleships. Now these are the heavy hitters. These are the ones, these are the damage sponges. These are the things that go out and they can absorb damage. These job, now this is kind of interesting, and a lot of people may not think this way. Since the cruisers are high DPM or high damage output, they're usually good at standing back and attacking and hitting other ships like enemy battleships and things like that, catching them on fire, doing high amounts of damage. Now, these ships don't have high DPM, but they have high caliber guns that can do a tremendous amount of damage when they hit. These are the ships that usually come in at medium range, that should be coming in and supporting the destroyers. You heard me right. Should be supporting the destroyers and taking out enemy cruisers and other enemy battleships. Yes, you heard me say this. Battleships should be going and helping support the destroyers. Trust me, it's one of those things you kind of want to do. These are also ships that can fire at long range. They can do damage. They get citadels and things of that nature. But primarily, they're damage sponges. So you go in these, and you can spec. These are all over the map. For you can get accuracy builds that can give you 18, 19 kilometer shot. You can, and like with cases like the Massachusetts or the Bismarck, or the Brandenburg, or the Atlantico, you can build those out to be brawlers with secondaries. Yes, you heard me right. Secondary fights and secondary ships that can do a decent amount of damage. Like the Massachusetts is a very good example of a ship that can be built in as a secondary build. They have excellent secondaries and very accurate secondaries. You can build these things out to 11, 12 kilometers. So this may not do, the secondaries on the ship may not do a lot of damage per se because they're 5-inch guns, but they start a lot of fires. And then there's the Bismarck and the Brandenburg, which have a mixture of lower caliber 4 to 5-inch and some 6-inch guns mixed in that could go in and they can slug it, do a lot of damage because there's so many of them. And there's the Atlantico, which basically has two cruisers. It has cruisers strapped on either side on top of their regular secondaries that, oh my god, they can go out and slug that thing. And then you get into ships like the Schlieffen when you get up into the legendary tier, which is just god tier secondaries. It just, oh my lord. But you're building those ships, sacrificing the main guns accuracy for the secondary build, and then you're going in the opposite direction where you can actually build the ships to get good accuracy with less secondary hits, less secondaries. Or you can do something in the case like of Massachusetts where you can actually build these for accuracy and still retain at least an 8-kilometer secondary range, which is not that bad at all. So you get a little bit of best of the both worlds. And then the final ships in the game is these right here, the carrier. Now, what are the carrier's jobs? Well, to go out and scout, help the destroyers go out and scout. You go out and find enemy destroyers with the aircraft carriers. And what you want to do is that you want to be able to put down and effectively go after enemy ships starting with destroyers and cruisers with bombs and torpedoes, and also help spot in some cases. And also be able to drop enemy friendly fighters on top of your ships to help defend against the enemy carrier. Yes, you can also attack the enemy carrier with those things. So there's your basic ship types and their basic jobs. Now, I mentioned armor. So I'm going to put the Massachusetts back up here. So let's take a look at the armor. So we take a look at this, we take a look at the armor and everything else. Now we want to take a look at a lot of different things when we're doing this, because how your armor reacts and how you angle your ship is very, very important. With battleships, you don't want to do this. Okay, let's take a look. You see that under the water? That's your citadel. Now, I mentioned before the color corresponds to the thickness of the citadel. So you can see that this ship is actually decently armored, but in some cases, depending on where, you can definitely have some issues when it comes to plunging fire and citadels. Okay, another one you always want to look at is overmatching the bow. You want to take a look at this. So this is a 29 to 33. So this actually is 32 millimeters of armor approximately on the bow. So that means up to 16-inch guns cannot penetrate that. The only ship in the game that can go through that bow is the Yamato with its 18.1-inch guns. Another thing with American battleships and German battleships, take a look at this. Take a look at your superstructure, because you can actually get a lot of damage because there's a lot of superstructure here. They will get saturated over time. So there you go. So in this particular ship, you just want to show a little bit of skirt, which is about right in here, which is basically right in the just around the forward turret. You don't want to go turn too far, but without going completely bow in, because you can get a lot of ricochets that way. And also, at distance, you can be affected by plunging fire, which can go through your deck. Okay? Another thing that can be knocked out is the armor on your guns. That can be knocked out. So you basically want to be able to do some effective angling. There's a little technique called the Dreadnought Shuffle, which I've learned from someone else. I watched that from Spartan Elite 43. He basically being able to move your guns on target, fire your guns, and putting your ship back into a position where you can use the best armor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go set up a match inside the training room, and we're going to discuss the training rooms while we're in there, and I'm going to show you how to angle against other ships. All right, let's go check this out. So I'm going to use to work with overmatch and things like that. I'm going to use a specific ship because I know that she does a lot of overmatch, and that is HMS Warspite. So let's go in. Let's create a room. All right. So we're going to change the map so we got something we can see. Okay. Let's go down here. We're going to add a bot. Alright, so we're going to go tier 5. Let's pick a good ship. No, I'm going to pick one. I'm going to show you overmatch, but I'm also going to show you something that's going to have a little bit we have to angle against. So let's do the Fuso, and then I'm going to add in a cruiser, and I'm going to show you something in regards to that. So let's do a heavy cruiser. Actually, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So let's get this out of here, and get this out of here, and then let's go back. Oh, no. Ah, yes. Do this again. Fuso. And then Devonshire. Okie dokie. Alright. So we got... I don't want two brothers. I want... neighbors, actually. Ah, here we go. Alright. So, let's go in here and let's do this. Alright. So, training rooms is new. Came with the came with this update. This allows you to be able to go in without the cost of any XP or credits or anything of that nature, to go in here, do experiments, screw around, have a little bit of fun. But this is also a good place to go in and learn how to play your ship. You can do this with other players. They can help you and teach you. You can do it against bots. You can set up some crazy scenario stuff in here. And you get all the maps with all the different things. So I actually threw some caps in here. So this is basic. So this is domination. So this is a 2 against 1. So this should be interesting. We're going to see who we face off against first. Okay, so it's kind of important understanding your ammunition. So you have your armor piercing, and then you hit X. It will bring me over to high explosive, which starts a lot of fires and such. So we're going to do this really quick, and then we'll call it a day after that. Alrighty. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my ship into a position where I'll be able to fire my guns. I'm going to show you a little bit of aiming point action and the idea of overmatch. Alright, so we'll put the plane up so help spot. Okay, I am spotted. Alright, now there's the Fuso. Let's take a look. How is she coming in at us? So she's bow in. So watch this. So I'm going to aim here. Now watch. I'm going to turn in. Okay, so we got 2 ricochets, so I didn't aim that exactly the way I wanted to. So now we're gonna sit there and they're gonna fire. He's gonna fire his guns. Now I'm gonna make sure I'm angled in. So you can see I got minimal damage. So in this particular case, I'm gonna now perform the Dreadnought Shuffle. Bring my guns around. I'm gonna aim at the cruiser. Now you can see right there. Now, one thing you can't do is angle against fire. You can't angle against HE. It's just going to light you on fire. So this ship's getting a little on the close side, but I got to be careful because it has torpedoes. Okay. So in that particular case, I was able to overmatch its armor with my 15-inch guns. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to get a little closer to this Fuso. Get these guns reloaded. You're going to bring the back guns around. Now we just want to be careful in how we maneuver the ship, because we need to get ourselves in a good position to fire the guns. Alright, now that hurt because I didn't do what I needed to do. I was too busy getting the rate, trying to get the aiming radical on the ship. So now we're hitting a drive-by scenario. So believe it or not, I'm actually angled pretty good. one thing I can tell you about playing this particular ship is that you do have a very good steering ability. Now I'm in a position to actually overmatch the ship, and I should be able to reload before he does. And there you go. That shows you overmatch. I overmatch his armor. Now I want to get my ship turned. Now, technically, he has 14-inch guns. I have 25 millimeters of bow armor. He technically cannot overmatch my bow. And I was able to burn him down with the secondaries. Other than the one mistake that I did make in there, I was over angled, but it does particularly happen. So you want to make sure that you learn how to angle the ship a little bit better. So with that being said, that gives you a good idea, especially about training rooms and things of that nature. So now you have a general idea what that looks like and everything else. So learning how to angle your ship is very important because you want to use that armor for your benefit to make sure that you're not taking too much damage. I was actually dishing out more damage than I was actually receiving, which is kind of what you really want to do. And also understanding how I overmatch the enemy ships, which is also very, very important. All right. Hopefully that gives you a good idea and some breakdown, and maybe definitely help you out. If there's something else you want to go over, definitely let me know. If you want to do a 4th edition of this particular series, I'm willing to go down. Tell me down with it. So tell me what you want to see, and then we can make it happen. So I hope everybody has learned a little something. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I really hope everybody has a really, really good day. Welcome to World of Warships, and remember, turn the tide. Peace.